Anything else besides that?
That is mainly what I've been playing, other than a little bit of Super Robot Wars here and there, which we've talked about
Yep,
a
we
number
talked
of
about
times, and going back to Heroes, which you know about as
Yeah,
well.
of course I
So
do.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for me, you know it. I played, Age of Wonders and things like that. But, um, I mean, we feel like we've mentioned Age of Wonders enough. And yeah, going back to HOTS. HOTS is a funny game, and all these these, I think just in general, MOBAs are funny games because, without going on a huge tangent, our friend Blue has been showing us ranked game like screenshots, and people like basically surrendering before the game really starts, or surrendering like a couple minutes into a game. Here's the Storm and like other MOBAs. There's like a rank, and this is me speaking as somebody who played a little bit in a higher rank. Like I played a little tiny bit. And what I can tell you about I can tell you the difference between a low rank and a high rank pretty easily. And I'm going to ignore mechanics. In low ranks, like bronze, silver, gold, there is, in my opinion, no point where the game's over. Because those players throw. They'll throw. Because they don't make proper decisions. Without even considering skill. So, I'm seeing Blue show us these screenshots of like, I'm in a platinum game and people are surrendering right away. And I'm like, you guys are in platinum. Game's not over. Even if you think it's over, game's not over. Because, I mean, outside of one map in particular, Blackheart's Bay, which is a terrible map. And it's not in ranked. It's not in ranked.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you're playing ranked, I'm pretty sure that map doesn't exist in ranked.
Yep, and it shouldn't
dog
be.
Shit.
Unless you're on that one, the game is not over in those ranks. And I've seen it time and time again where people are like, I'm gonna give up. And I just want to tell you, like, if you are a low ranked player, and I don't know how this is in League, and League is very snowbally, so it might be different.
League is more snowbally than Heroes is.
But I think in low ranks of some of these game's not over. Don't surrender right away. There are some games where I know when the game's over and I can tell, but like in a low ranking game, it's never over because the other team throws. The other team is going to, like, there is a high probability in my mind when I go into like a bronze, silver, gold game where they will make a wrong decision. They won't push correctly, or they won't do this correctly.
Take the right camps.
And it's because it's all decision making to me. Like skill, actually, for certain ranks, it's actually not that much different. It's all decision making. It's like,
I mean, there's only
all decision making.
Obviously, there's micro and there's like skill involved in like piloting your champion and like avoiding skill shots, hitting skill shots, like etc. But like, yeah, I think you're right. The biggest difference between like low rank and high rank in MOBA is like map awareness and decision making in terms of like pushing objectives. In Heroes, it's like camps and like soaking waves and like when to fight for objectives, when to give up objectives. Like
I can put Kuru on Kerrigan, and if he practices enough, it makes up for skill because practice becomes skill.
He would probably get it within like
he'd get
a couple of games.
So that's why I said it's not skill. It's not, and it's really not to me, because skill is practice. Like practice is skill. There's no talent to me. It's like you practice, you define skill.
You could like one trick any hero and like
exactly, and you'll get good at it.
You'll get god tier with
you'll
that
figure
hero.
It out.
But like if you suck at decision making and map play, like you're not
like
good.
you could put Kuru on a hero he's never played before. If he practices it enough, he'll figure it out. He'll define skill. He'll figure out how to play in every situation. You give him enough games. So there's no skill to me in like bronze, silver, gold. It's decision making. Decision making is like the primary reason people lose. And it's like, I can just see it. I see the decision making. And it's the same thing in platinum, even in diamond. Diamond players are skilled because they practice, but they still make poor decisions at times, and that includes me. So like, there are just so many examples of this, and I would just like, again, I don't want to go on like too long of a tangent of all the micro decisions in a game, but I feel like if you are a player in these MOBAs and you are in a low ranking game, don't be quick to surrender. because it's not just about like skill and people are snowballing. People in those ranks make bad decisions, and it's not like I don't even think like, because we, you know, Ghost and everybody here has been in a low rank. I'm not saying anybody's bad, but I'm saying like the decision making isn't the same as like if I put a master or grandmaster in a game with us, they're gonna make good decisions and they're gonna have skill, and that's why they're gonna win. It's because of decision making. It's not actually fully.
It's also like, especially if it's like kills that are the thing that you're like FFing over, especially in Heroes of the Storm. Like, say we were playing whatever, a 3-lane map, Warhead Junction, and like one team 5-man's mid lane, and the other team does like 2 people side lane and like 3 people mid lane, and the 5-man mid lane kills like 1 or 2 people on the 3-man mid lane, but then you have the other 2 like side laners soaking. The team with the 2 people soaking are probably going to be even or even like ahead of experience, even though the team in the middle got 2 kills. It just doesn't matter.
It doesn't make a difference in a game like HOTS. In League, and in League it's different too, but even in League, like, you can just see it. It's like, oh, like that person's ahead, but you know, it doesn't always matter if you make bad decisions.
Well, yeah,
like,
and like
you make a bad Baron call. Like,
gold isn't a thing in Heroes of the Storm. So like getting kills, all it gets you is experience and like time of that hero being off the map. But like early in the game, respawn time's like less than 5 seconds, so it doesn't really matter.
So that's where like what I'm getting to is like you play a game like HOTS again, and it just reaffirmed. Like for me, it's reaffirmed. Like I know who good players are, and it's not skill, it's decision making. Like I can just tell. And one of the ways I can tell is when and why people take camps. That's actually how I know who makes good decisions. I can tell who's a good decision maker based on camps. In most cases, I can tell. In bronze, silver, and gold, people just take camps whenever they want.
Yeah.
I can just tell. I'm like, okay, you're just taking it because you can take it. In like things like even in Diamond, but like in Diamond, Master, Grandmaster, like everything's about timing. So it's all about you take the camp at a very specific time, and there's a reason for it. Like,
yeah,
you don't necessarily take an objective. You don't take a camp that's where the objective is because it's just going to get cleared. It's a waste of time. You go instead and you prioritize the other one. Because it's gonna, now the other team has to make decisions. Yeah, you take the camp away from the objective when the objective is spawning, because the teams likely are both gonna, the vast majority of the players are gonna go to the objective and fight for the objective, and the camp is gonna push the wave in the the lane that nobody's in. Like, for those that don't know, Here's the Storm. You're gonna hear some terminology in here. For Cursed Hollow, which is a map, there are 2 bosses in the corners, and classically what people do is they take one boss and then go for objective. So objective pops, it's in the top, and you're already taking boss. You see the rest of the team up here, you take this boss. Objectives are like 1-0. Classically, what happens is they take the boss, they go over to the objective. That to me is what a bronze, silver, and gold player will do. What other people do is they'll go, okay, objectives here. I can see like 3 people there, so they're not coming to the boss that we're just about to finish. We're going to ignore this objective because it doesn't matter. And once they take the objective, their first move is going to be, do we stop them from taking the other boss, or do we go to defend our boss? If you stop the other team from this boss, that boss goes really far. If you don't stop it, you're like, you got to defend against 2 bosses now. So it's like decision making coupled with like you're trying to make the other team play your game. Bronze, silver, and gold players don't think about like that. You're playing poker. You're playing poker with your opponent. And for me, I want to play poker with, you know, my opponents. I'm thinking, okay, I don't want them to play their game. I want them to play my game. And my game is, every time there's an objective, you're making a choice. You're either going to take the objective, or my thing is going to start pushing. Like Dahaka's classic, for me, is like a classic decision maker kind of champion, because he can sit in the bottom, objectives all the way up here, he can just sit in the bottom, he forces the other team to make a decision. Do you want to stop Dahaka from soaking up all your experience and making your life a living hell
and taking your fort possibly.
You bring one player down there maybe to stop him, or do you focus objective? But the thing is, Dahaka can go anywhere.
He can teleport.
So
So
it's just like, it's a classic, like you put the other team in a position where they're actually playing your game. So that's my rant after playing Heroes. Is a lot of people just don't let the other team play their game, which is also why I don't like Blackheart's Bay. It's hard to make the other team like play your game, because Blackheart's Bay disincentivizes fighting. All you're really doing is just getting coins, and then eventually you fight on the coin hub, and then it's kind of like whoever starts to get the first turn in ends up snowballing to victory, because they've already gotten the first turn in, they've taken all your coins. It's way too snowball.
It disincentivizes pushing too, because if you put it, like, you don't need to push, you just have to kill camps, collect the coins, and then turn in, and eventually the objective will just kill their entire base.
Yeah, so like, why you don't necessarily need to push in certain ways. Like, there are some champions that are like, Zool is like the classic Blackheart's Bay killer. If you get Zool on Blackheart's Bay and the other team doesn't know how to play against it, like, you just win, because Zool can just classically win the game by himself. In that one, he just pushes 2 lanes at once, and it's the dumbest thing you'll ever experience if you can't play against it. But yeah, I just playing HOTS and like seeing Blue's messages. Like, if you're playing HOTS, don't just give up, unless you're like a master GM, and like.
Even in those ranks, like, people still throw sometimes. Like, they still like make bad decisions or take a bad fight or like, but whatever.
Generally, they do a better job of figuring out, figuring out how to play the game state.
Yeah,
they figure out the map and game state, and they're like, okay, they're playing around certain things in the game state. But like, fuck, man, I played every rank with other people. I played bronze. It's hard to play in bronze when you're thinking about decision making. So I have to like turn
and
off
everyone
my
else just like
range.
Fiesta 5v5s like in the mid lane, like it's the whole game.
Like in those ranks, I just turn off my decision making brain, because I'm like, yeah, none of these people are gonna do that. So I'm just gonna like, I'll just do what I can. But there really isn't much decision maker communication, and I can. My last example of that is I played in the bronze games once with some people, and I got flamed because I was destroying a wall. They're like, why are you destroying that wall? What's the point?
I've heard the story, yeah.
Why are you destroying that wall? And I explained very peacefully. I said, if I destroy this wall, they don't have vision anymore there. So it opens up our vision of the map, and it decreases theirs, because these walls are actually vision. And the person was like, that's stupid. And I said, okay. So
you said, okay, you're wrong, but fine. Like,
I basically just ignored it. I said, okay, this is the level you'll stay at, because you're not willing to consider like an alternative perspective, which is walls give vision. In every game I play, I destroy walls. The only time I wouldn't is if I'm like Diablo or something, and I want that wall there for a reason. But like, oh yeah, every wall you just destroy them if
like,
you can.
When we're like pushing a fort or a keep, and I'm playing like a range character, like yesterday I was playing Vala yesterday, and we're pushing like Battlefield of Eternity with the Immortal. The Immortal and our wave is like destroying the part of the wall that you actually usually attack, the one with the towers and the gate, that gets destroyed. And as the wave is walking to the actual keep to destroy it, I'm shooting at I'm gonna destroy the side, just shoot at the side wall and destroy it, like,
because it's vision. So like the person was like, what the hell are you doing? You're wasting your time destroying the wall. I'm like, no, what I'm doing is I'm trying to reduce vision for the other team so that we control more of the map. And they just completely were like not with me there. And I'm just like, It's okay. Like,
If you've ever played League of Legends or Dota, warding and vision are very important.
It's just
Heroes of the Storm doesn't have wards.
I mean, like,
but there are things that give vision.
It's like the more of the map you control, like you can start dictating the game. Like that's decision making. It's like, okay, now I can start. They have to play my game because I have control. And that person, they were like bronze or silver or whatever. They weren't hearing it. And I'm like, it's okay. Like I tried to give you a nugget of information. You weren't hearing it. Okay.
Keep a ramming on a ranked game.
Just like, feel free to, stay at this level and continue to ask questions while you're still here. It's because of that stuff. Oh yeah, tons of interactions like that of just like, why'd you do that? And I'm like, well, let me explain the thought process to do this. Why didn't you join us for this fight? Well, 1, I was pretty far away. 2, there's no objective, so what's the point of the fight? 3, like, what are you guys doing? You were taking the camp. I was like, well, yeah, because there's no reason to fight right now. We can maybe get this camp and then
push
objectives starting to come up. We can maybe start pushing some waves.
The objective of the game is to push waves and destroy the enemies, and to push the enemy. In the end of the game, the objective of the game is to push waves, destroy the enemy's base, and eventually get to their core. Push a wave all the way and destroy the enemy core.
And I'm not saying I'm always right, but I'm just like looking at it like, well, what'd you guys fight for? And they're like, well, I was like, well, the objective isn't even up. We're just kind of fighting for no reason. But if we took this camp and then we went to fight, at the very least, the team would have to make a decision. Like, okay, well, even if we're fighting and we're just poking around, the more we poke around, the more our camp is succeeding. So that's my whole explanation of why just don't give up games. So if you're playing MOBAs, don't give up. Like, even in League, I know the idea of League is like a lot of teams just surrender at like 15 and 20. Just play it out. You never know in like a lower rank where somebody's just gonna make a huge fail and the game completely turns because there's no decision making at those ranks. There just isn't. And if somebody tells me others like, oh, I'm gold and I'm pretty smart, I'm like, no, you're not. I don't think you are. I don't think you're making the right decisions enough for me to say otherwise. Otherwise you wouldn't be here. You'd probably be higher. And that's just all I have to say. Don't give up on your games. Don't surrender at 5 minutes. Like, don't surrender before the game starts. Don't surrender at 5 minutes.
Look, especially in Heroes of the Storm, where like the games are shorter. Kills don't matter that much. Even the first objective doesn't matter that much. Like, the objectives, for the most part in Heroes of the Storm, get stronger and stronger the later in the game that you capture them. So like even if you're losing like the whole game, if you get like an ace at like 20 minutes and capture an objective, they're going to be down for like 60 plus seconds and you get an objective and you might just push for the win.
The game's just over.
You're at least going to get like a keep out of it and like you might just win.
Yeah, no, the game at that point the game's probably over. If the team is making the right choices, just going in.
And the other thing in MOBAs, by the way, and this is more a problem in League than in Heroes because there's way more ways to like regenerate health and mana in Heroes with like regen globes and fountains and like blah blah blah.
More healing.
But like when you like get kills or you capture an objective, unless you're like exceptionally low, don't back.
You don't have to right away. Yeah, you don't have to.
Push with your objective or push with your team. Like,
the classic one is, we don't necessarily have a wave and there's all 5 of us, so let's not go in on this like fort, but the fort's at like half health. And my response is, well, there's nobody else here, you're a tank, you swap off tanking the shots and then you kill it and move on. It's okay to like take some hits. If everybody else on the other team is gone or on the other side of the map, take a few hits. It's okay. Just take a few. Who cares?
Take an objective and then back.
And then we
take
can
the objective.
Then you can do whatever you want.
Then you can reset. Yeah. Like.
Anyway. So yeah, don't.
And I won't tell you. You're like far better at decision making than me. I'm like. I definitely am not good with camps. I understand like theoretically in Heroes like that you should take camps away from the objective and like while the objective is spawning and blah blah blah. But a lot of times I do just like take camps.
Do you just say?
Camp
I mean, like it's okay to take a
like,
camp when a camp's up and there's like not much else there. Like that's fine.
Yeah.
But in a lot of situations, like the camp not being taken, like okay, here's another one. Ultra Rock Pass. Ultra Rock Pass is a classic, like, for whatever reason, people don't take the camp there. There's one camp that you can take besides the boss. Classically, I never see anybody take the camp, and when they do, they take it when the objective isn't even ready. So, what I do is when the objective is starting, you kind of start... Sorry, I muted myself by accident. You don't cap the camp right away. You wait. You don't cap it right away. You can actually let it sit there for a second.
Yeah, that's right. You can kill the camp and then just
once the objective goes up, you pop the camp. And then the camp is going to slowly walk, and you just poke around the enemy team. Eventually, the enemy team's going to have to make a choice. They're going to go, okay, either we're going to kill the camp that's in mid, and maybe they didn't take theirs, or we're going to keep poking around and fighting. As soon as they try and take the camp,
you take the objective.
You start to go through to the objective,
or you engage on the rest of their. You engage, or on you the rest can start of their team and you fight them.
You can start engaging, like, but they got to make a choice because that camp is pretty strong mid. It's gonna go. Also that objective, if you kill the other, let's say you wipe the team. A lot of times, what people will do in lower ranks is they'll just go right for the objective and cap it. What other people do, in my experience, which I learned, is they won't do it right away. They'll wait. They'll be like, okay, well, we've got 20 seconds of death timers, maybe. We're going to push all the waves real quick. So they're going to push like top and mid, maybe, because that's the closest to the objective at the time. And then once they've got top and mid under control, then they'll take the objective and they'll just wait and see how much they can get. Because if the objective, and this is true even in the one with the spiders temple,
Tomb of the Spider,
yeah.
And it's also true on the new Garden of Terror, on the new Garden of Terror as
well. The objective will actually stop where the wave is. So
it spawns where the
if your wave is all the way back, that's where it spawns.
Yeah.
But if you push it, and that's why people don't always drop the gems at the, they'll like kill the other team and then they'll wait to drop gems. They'll be okay, let's hold on gems, push the lanes, now drop the gems, is because they want the wave to start at the towers. So that's like the difference. Is a lot of times in the lower ranking games they'll just take stuff and they like won't give it a second thought because it's like, oh well, it's shiny and it's there. But when you get into those other ranks, even in black hearts when it used to be in ranked rotation, what people will do is I would see people take things like Rexar and like a camp killer, and they would have the camp killer play jungle. They would just kill camps the whole time. They wouldn't even be in a lane. They'd have 3 people top, 1 bottom, camp killer.
That makes sense.
And the camp killer takes every little camp on their side and then will help push a lane that needs help. So that's how people would play black hearts in like Diamond, for example. When I was playing,
top and mid are really close to each other.
Yep. And they would like actively tell people, no, it's okay. Go push your lane. I'm going to be the camp killer. And that's what Illidan does too. Like Illidan would be taken in that map because he's a good camp killer. So,
and then he has a global ult, so you can jump into a fight if you need him.
I don't like black hearts because in quick play you don't think about that stuff like camp killer, but like this is what people do is in like a lower ranking game, what would end up happening is people would just go, oh, just do 4-1, whatever. But in other ranks they'll be like, okay, well, what if we have like a camp person that just plays jungle? They don't even worry about lanes. They'll support a lane when needed it. They'll play it a little bit more like League in that respect. They'll collect all the coins, hold them, and then when they're ready, they'll then be the turn-in person. They'll be the designated turn-in person, and when chests are up, they'll help a lane with chest.
With the chests, yeah.
They'll pick a lane to help. So that's like, I'm not saying that was the most optimal approach, but that's like the difference is people are thinking of different things in respect to like, okay, we're not just taking objectives to take them. There's like a secondary thought process going on. and they're like, oh yeah, we should push lanes before popping Cursed Hollow. We should push some lanes because once the Cursed Hollow starts, then our wave's already there and we're ready to go, as opposed to like it kind of stops for a moment. Or maybe a lane was pushed back. So that's like, I mean, you could still take camps whenever you want, but like in the back of your mind, like in every game, there's like something in the back of your mind, which is why I like Dahaka. Dahaka is like the budget version of that, like just all the time. It's like, okay, well, I'll just soak a lane, you guys fight, and when you need me, call me. Just give me a call. He's like, he does that stuff, and he's good. He's pretty decent with camps, so like he's got like some cool flexibility. Anyway, don't surrender in your games. That's the point. The point is like, don't surrender your games. It's all about decision making, and generally speaking, like
if you want to climb, learn how to play the map. Everyone can play their champion competently.
Yeah,
learn how to play the map.
You can get anybody to practice, and they'll figure it out with time. Like time is their ally in that respect. Like they'll figure it out. With time comes skill. Your decision making is different. Like you have to just kind of get in those situations, and if you're not getting in those situations enough, you're not going to learn it. I can learn Kerrigan with like, because there's a try mode, but unless you're like watching videos and stuff, you're not necessarily going to see like the secondary decision making kind of process. So it's like that. And so when we play, I'm always doing that. And sometimes I don't really say it. I just want the game to play out, and I want to have fun. But yeah, like in the back of my mind, there's always the like, do this.
When we play, you rarely shot call when we play, and you probably should, but you just kind of want to chill. You just kind of want to chill.
I kind of just want to chill and like mess around. And I just don't like black hearts too. Like with shotgun and black hearts, I just hate it.
Well, yeah, none of us like that. None of us like that map.
But yeah, map. But for sure, I would always have like a camp killer. There would just be one person clearing camps and whatever. So yeah, that's about it. I just want to say, don't surrender your games, MOBA people. Don't surrender your games so quickly. Like, I don't know. I know it's frustrating, but if you're like in bronze, silver, gold, like don't surrender it right away.
And if you're coming from like League or Dota to HOT, especially League to HOTS, like First Blood is not GG. Like.
And like some people treat League like that. I'm like, guys, it's one kill in League. Like I don't think the game's over. Like if somebody has like 10 kills at 10 minutes, like the game's probably like they're in complete control. But like I don't know, like I think people are very quick to surrender a lot, and I'm just like, don't surrender.
Yeah,
like you never know. So I mean, could you lose? Yeah, sure. But like,
should you lose? Probably.
Should you surrender all the time that quickly? No, because there's probably something to learn. And if you surrender so fast, like, what did you learn? You learned how to surrender? Like, okay. You learned how to turn your game off. So, anyway, that's all I got. That was what I was doing, Age of Wonders, and we were playing HOTS. And HOTS is great, but, like, people surrender so fast. I always get disappointed. Where am I? There am I. Anyway, anything else?
Nope, that's all I've been doing. We got Game Awards this Thursday, so we'll probably have a lot to talk about next week.
Definitely. We'll have a lot to chat about on Saturday. So, okay, cool. We'll get these videos